Okay, so again, good morning and welcome everyone, and please continue to file in, but we're going to jump into this conversation. So as I said, today's session is titled From Side Hustle to Entrepreneurship, and we know that the journey of being an entrepreneur can be complex, it can be dynamic, and there's a lot of do's, don'ts, and in-betweens that we want to be helpful with as you are on this journey. So to start, I would love for our panelists to just introduce themselves by sharing a little bit more about your background and maybe giving us a first memory of your own exposure or impression of entrepreneurship. Let's start with Brandon.
Great. Good morning, everyone. How y'all feeling? Good? All right. That's good. So my name is Brandon Davenport. I'm the head of equitable commerce at Shopify, where we aim to make successful entrepreneurship more accessible for Black entrepreneurs. A part of our mission and aim is our partnership with Operation Hope through the 1MBB, so the 1 Million Black Business Initiative. Our goal is to help start and enable 1 million businesses by 2030. I also identify as an entrepreneur, as you can see on my shirt. I am the CEO of Baobab Clothing, named after the Tree of Life, where we make the perfect polo for ambitious professionals. My earliest memory of or thoughts around entrepreneurship, I was blessed to have entrepreneurs in my family. And we think about today entrepreneurs being this like unicorn tech companies and all the things, right? But that's not the case, right? I had an aunt that sold at flea markets and like antiques and so forth. She taught me the idea of bartering and how to buy and sell. My father had a soda machine company at one time. And so I just was fortunate to have people, again, these were our side hustles. These are ways to put a little bit, a couple $100s in the bank every month so I could go to school or whatever. And so that's my earliest memory, and it inspired me to want to be an entrepreneur as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brandon. Nicola.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicola Roberts. I'm a senior business consultant at JP Morgan Chase. I have the pleasure of working with entrepreneurs and business owners to help them grow and scale their business or gain access to capital. My career started as a part-time teller at a bank and basically grew my love for banking there. I was fortunate to get into a management training program with HSBC, where I was exposed to banking and quickly decided that I wanted to be on the underwriting and commercial banking side. So I've been fortunate to spend most of my career in the corporate banking, middle market, and commercial banking as an underwriter and portfolio manager. And so I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners to help them gain access to capital. One of my earliest memories in entrepreneurship, though I myself was not an entrepreneur, my husband was. He was a serial entrepreneur, have owned carpet cleaning business, rain barrel business when there was a drought, and several other businesses, to the point where I told him if he ever started another business, I was going to divorce him. Needless to say, he continued on that path and has been very successful with that. And so I'm really excited to be in this room today, especially among such distinguished guests and panel, to hopefully have an impactful conversation and help share some of the experience I've had on the banking side.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kat Shepard, and I'm with SCORE. And we have a nationwide of mentors, about 10,000 of them nationwide, that help businesses with free, did I say free? Free 99, mentoring, no-cost mentoring. So I am proud to be that, because my personal mission is to make sure that families are fed. And I know through businesses, families can be fed. And that brings me to my first experience as an entrepreneur was my mama. I got it from my mama, right? She made sure to go out there and paint those Christmas windows so we can have a Christmas, so we can have some food on our table, right? And she would hustle and go out there and paint those windows. And one time I said, Mom, I'll help you. And so what I did is I took some Polaroids. Some of you are too young to know what that is, whatever. But I took some Polaroid pictures and I made a little book, and I ran around and sold them to Carl's Jr. And the first person said to me, oh no, you have to talk to our district manager. I was like, oh, that's what it is, a district manager, okay. So I went and talked to all the district managers and made sure she got all those those Christmas window paintings. And so my mother was my first experience with entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Kat. All right, Carlos.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's great to join you here again. My name is Carlos Gutierrez. I'm with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. I've been in the innovation space for a while, worked with Department of Energy, Small Business Administration, and also MBDA, who's also here out there with the tables. We also have one set up. I'm also an entrepreneur as well. I have a patent and a trademark. Not to get into the first memories, because I think there's too many of them for me, but one of the ones from the start of my education and professional career was learning that usually the impetus is solving a problem. And if you start from that, usually you're going to find the best results. And there's a distinct difference between solving a want and solving a problem. And you can still get good results out of solving a want, but you're going to get much more effective and probably better results if you're approaching things from solving a problem. And in my experience, I've seen it's probably about 70 or 80% of the time the best case scenario when somebody is trying to solve their own problem or somebody that's close to them. So I appreciate being here, like I said, and I look forward to talking to you a little bit more.
Great, excellent. So as I said, we have a dynamic panel, and I appreciate you all taking the time to be with us here today. We're going to keep the energy up and try to touch on as many topics that we think are relevant and would be useful to you as you are pursuing entrepreneurship. So you've heard some of the origin stories or the early impressions, and in that you've heard passion, you've heard skill, you've heard about a family member or a personal mission that has kind of been the motivating driver for solving a problem or meeting a need in the marketplace. But how would you all qualify right now? Because entrepreneurship is hot, right? Like everybody's talking about you need to start a business, you should own your own business. You can do it through e-commerce. You can turn a passion for making cupcakes or soul food into a restaurant. But how would you all qualify right now the current environment for starting or scaling a business? And what are your thoughts on the network of support that's available to entrepreneurs? Kat, would you like to start for us?
You know, the market is hot. Everybody, you always hear this statement, if everybody was doing it, Well, everybody is doing it. And so there's competition out there. So the first thing you should do is understand that there's competition out there. And in doing so, get help. I think that's the first thing to do, is to make sure that you're aligned with the right people to help you. As entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, a lot of us are working with maybe one person or maybe no people helping you. So the first thing is to get your dream team available, because the market is hot and you want to make sure that you are aligned and make sure you know what people want. Know your target audience. If you're selling something like tennis skirts, right? Know who you're selling to. A lot of people don't know who their target market is, but they're out there selling, they're out there advertising. That could be a loss of money for you. So I understand who your ideal market is and go after it. Make sure your product is viable. That's important. But make sure you live and follow your dreams. Some people may not understand your dream. Some of you are out there and you're working and nobody understands what you're doing. I can give you a great example. Most of you know flies. You kill them, right? There's a guy who came to us and says, I want to sell flies. Probably everybody laughed at them. You probably think, who's selling flies? This guy's selling flies, and he's a multiple millionaire because he followed his dream. So don't kill flies, sell them. That's another thing, right? But find out who. The other thing is find like audiences. People who want to feed their chickens and things like that, they're buying those flies. Yes, believe it or not, they're buying them. And I can tell you what, when I started my business, I couldn't get my family to understand what I was doing. I had contracts with AT&T in 13 states. Nobody knew what I was doing. They couldn't understand. Sometimes you got to make sure you're talking to the right person, because some people will kill your dreams. My husband had me in the back seat telling my dad on me because I slept in my car to start my business. She's sleeping in her car. I was like, shut up, I'm finna make this money, right? So align yourself with the right people. The other thing, I'm gonna give you one more tip. If you are a wedding photographer Your clients are people who are in the weddings, right? Who are your alliance partners? Right now, you should have 10 alliance partners who have the same audience as you, but not competition. So follow your dream, find your audience, target your audience, and make sure that it's a viable product by testing, and marketing. Somebody who makes wedding cakes, right? Somebody who's a limousine driver, right? Find your alliance partners, and then if they have 1,000 followers, now you have 1,000 followers too. Partner with them by doing joint marketing, things like that.
Brandon or Nicola, you want to add?
How many people out here are current entrepreneurs, have a business, whether it's online, offline, stored? Okay. And then how many folks in here have a dream, an idea, or business that they want to start? Okay. It seems like collectively it's the entire room. Right after this, go to the 1MBB table that's right over here to the right. Sign up. You'll get a coach, someone to help you process your idea and get you started on your business journey. Okay, that's the plug for 1MBB. Now next, there's been no better time than today to be a business owner. The idea that you can actually wake up in the morning, have your breakfast, take a shower if you do it in that order. It's up to you. Take a shower, have an idea pop in your mind, and by dinner time, go ahead, launch that business and start taking sales and processing sales. You couldn't do that 10 years ago. And so and then I heard the thought about, you can't tell everyone your dream, or if someone knocks your dream, it's your dream, right? Other people will align with that. If they don't, that's not for them, and that's okay. So at Shopify, a part of what we do as a platform is to make commerce better for everyone. So what does that mean? So commerce, the act of buying and selling, right? We allow that around the world, making it better. So the pursuit of a positive experience, right? So that you can have a website that has uptime all the time, that you can take transactions from anywhere. You have a card reader you can sell, you have your products with you can sell here, right? And then for everyone, making it equitable. You don't have to be a millionaire to start a business. Again, you can wake up in the morning and start processing sales later that evening. And there's no better time than today to make that happen.
Excellent. Nicola?
I think to follow what Kat and Brandon both said is not only following your dream, but also following your talent. I think that's probably key. A lot of us have dreams, and it may not necessarily align with our talent, so you really have to do an assessment of that. And then also figure out what problems are you solving for your client or your customers, right? I think that's one of the most important thing is really understanding where the market is, who your customer is, and having a clear vision of where you're trying to get to, and really having that North Star to follow it, because there's always going to be competition. There's always going to be somebody in the market that maybe you think is better than you or is less than you. So I would say in terms of competition, study your competition. What are they doing that you're not doing, that maybe they're doing well, that you want to emulate, or something that they're not doing well, and you're like, no, that's absolutely something that I do not want to have in my business model. Also, do not be afraid of criticism. Assessing the market, get criticism, get feedback, whether it's from your clients, your customers, your spouse, your partner, your community. They may be able to give you some feedback that you have blind spots to. And so that would be some of the tips that I would give them in terms of, yes, the market is competitive, but know your product, know who your customer is, and be laser focused on your objective.
Excellent. So we have heard that the market is hot. There's no better time than to start a business than today. You need to know your market. You need to know who your customer is. There are resources out here to support you in that journey, and you should align to others that are in the industry or similar that can complement the business that you are seeking to pursue. In some of the practical ways, again, the title is kind of side hustle to entrepreneurship. So we might be starting the business out of our home or out of a community rec center, or what have you, the basement. But there are certain structural things, right, that we need to have in place that takes us from a passion or a side hustle to being a formal, established, recognized business. So can you give the audience just some tips and some practical insights on the things that we need to do to have our house in order when it comes to starting our business? Carlos or Kat?
So I would say kind of a twofold answer. I think the first one was touched upon briefly, which is identifying the ecosystem, right? Because every community has its own ecosystem, and it's usually much more expansive than we probably think it is. Obviously, Operation Hope is a great organization, and you're at a good start here, but there's so many other ones within the ecosystem that provide great resources. And for the folks that aren't utilizing those, they're setting themselves up at a disadvantage right off the bat, because that's where a lot of the expertise lies. Additionally, as representative up here from the federal government, I think it's important to recognize there's a lot of federal resources that are free, completely free, from several federal agencies. Obviously, for purposes of intellectual property, USPTO is one of them, but also the SBA, and you talked about what type of things you need to set up. I think it's valuable to look early, especially if you have a physical product, at all of the nuance associated with supply chain and sourcing, maybe from overseas, things that people don't maybe typically associate with entrepreneurship, which are the things that are not fun, right? Like a lot of people look at entrepreneurship, and it is a hot thing right now, but there's certain things that are just not fun, but they need to get done, right? Like accounting compliance and taxation. Are you going to get taxed every 3 months, every biannually, every year? If you think it's every year and then it's every quarter, well, then that's a bad situation you find yourself in. So I think looking at early stage, who can help you with those things and what needs to be done, rather than waiting until you've already done all the steps associated with the innovation and pivoting and looking at features and things like that. If you can start early with those things and utilize some of those resources, both federal and in the private sector, like incubators, accelerators, and other such organizations, especially, like I said, the ones that have a lot of free resources. A lot of them have free and low-cost resources, so that's what I would start with as well.
So I'm going to give you some tech things also. First of all, a lot of people don't have a business plan, even a simple lean canvas business plan. So if you need help with a business plan, you can get a mentor from Operation Hope, a mentor from Scope, SBDC, Women's Business Center. A lot of people avoid that step. But if you go to a banker and you try to get a loan, they're going to ask you for your business plan. They're not going to remember everything you're talking about. Also, your business plan is like your guide. And it doesn't mean it doesn't change, because it should always evolve. But you should go ahead and start that business plan. The other thing is a marketing plan. A lot of us are afraid to do this because we don't want to stop. We're working. I don't have time for that. You have time to make money, and this is going to take you further. So your marketing plan is important too. And again, if you need help, don't be that solopreneur, because a lot of us are type A's and we just want to go, 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 go. Even wake up in the middle of the night. If you're like me, I was up at 3 o'clock like, doot, 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 doot. My brain just keeps going. Are you guys like that? Yeah? So take the time. Now, also use tools. How many of you are using AI, by the way? Just show your hands. Oh, good. Okay. This should be everybody, right? I have my AI, and when I'm walking around or talking, my husband caught me talking to ChatGPT, right? And it says, hey, Kat, because I have to talk to him in a Jamaican accent. I told him to do that, right? Hey, Kat. He came and said, really? But I can have a good conversation with that. That's like having a personal assistant. That is a tool nowadays. So you should be dumping everything into AI, by the way. You should do that. There's other tools that you can use. And if you pull me to the side, I'll give you 50 million of them, because I have a lot of them. But use the tools. But get the help. It's important that you get the help that you need to do it. But your marketing plan, your business plan, and understand what your genius zone is, because you may be great at baking cakes, but you do not like marketing. You do not like documenting. You do not like social media, and you're not good at it. So find what you are and identify your genius zone, operate in that zone, and get help every which you can.
I would say is start at the beginning. The Coaching for Impact program that JP Morgan created in 2019 came out of realizing that there was a need, especially when the pandemic happened. We realized that not a lot of business owners were prepared to sustain a pandemic or any type of catastrophe or business closure. And so a lot of business owners were not able to take advantage of the PPP, the idle loans, because they did not have their business set up, whether it's officially formed as an LLC or S Corp. They didn't have their taxes prepared. So you really have to make sure that you have the foundation of your business established. Even if you're doing this as a side hustle, if you're thinking long-term that this is something that maybe you want to turn into a career and you have your 9 to 5, but this is your 5 to 9, go ahead and get your business formed with the Secretary of State. If you're pursuing grants, for instance, you mentioned the business plan, that's very important. The business plan comes into place a lot at the small business level. Once you start scaling and you're at the middle market, the CNI, the corporate banking, I've really ever asked for a business plan when I was underwriting or doing portfolio manager. But at the small business level, it's very important. And one of the important things is not only for when you want to go get a loan or a grant, doing a business plan, you can hire somebody to do it, and there are people who have that set up as their side hustle in their business. But the act of doing the business plan is really going to help you think through your business, formulate it. You're going through what the business is, who your customer is, your structure, your finance, your projection. So it's very important to do the business plan. But today, it's not just the business plan. You can have a capability statement, which is like a one-page resume of your business. So you can also do that. And that can maybe be the formation of developing a business plan. Start with the one-pager. You can also do a pitch deck. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, you're pursuing grants and all sorts of resources, and a lot of not-for-profit government agencies require you to have a business plan. And so I would encourage you to start with that, really laying the foundation before you get into the heart of the business and you start growing and scaling, because once you start growing and scaling, you really are going to have time to go back and lay the foundation of that. So in my coaching, I spend a lot of time with my clients. They come to me and they really don't have the processes and procedures in place because they were learning to fly the plane as they were flying it. So if you have the time to do that, start at the beginning, put the time in, make the investment. It's worth it.
Excellent. Brandon, you wanted to add
I
something?
don't remember what the question was, but I just want to add to
triggered.
what Kat had mentioned. So just really quick, for those who are either current business owners or thinking about it, if you don't have ChatGPT on your phone, that's just the one that I use, so there's others, go ahead, take out your phone while we're talking and download it. I promise you it will change your life. Just an example of this. So I run a company, sell primarily online. Of course, for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we have to send out a bunch of emails. I'm sure everyone has received some type of email to buy something. Maybe you received something from my company, I'm not sure, but every email that we sent out for Black Friday was set up by ChatGPT. I fired my email marketing company. They weren't producing the way they were a year ago. I was like, you know what, we're gonna do it ourselves. And we used ChatGPT to create the entire cadence, from subject line to preview text to body text, all of it. It didn't create the image. There are products, AI's tools that can create images, but we already had that set. So I just go ahead, if you haven't done so, go ahead and download it today. Secondly, you just touched on one thing, I think you said genius, what is it? Yeah. So the way that I think about it is your unfair advantage. Identify whatever it is for you, your unfair advantage. And if you don't know what that is, just study it, figure it out, right? So someone mentioned to me earlier that they want to sell leather bags. Learn leather bags. Take that time, and I know it sounds simple or whatever, I just want to get started, right? Learn the leather industry is not that hard. Just learn it, spend the time being the expert in that particular field. and it'll take you a long way. I promise you. Before we launched our company, I had no idea the difference between cotton and poly. I can break all of it down now because I took that time to figure it out, and I had to have that conversation. And I know how to talk to my suppliers when it comes to buying products.
Excellent. So as the panelists have been sharing, not all of the aspects of being an entrepreneur are sexy, but there are things that we have to do in order to have our house in order and to be available to access opportunities. And so we talked about the origins, mostly from the state of a side hustle, but our hope is that, we are in a room of future CEOs and individuals who are going to be employers of others, who are going to be contributing to the tax base and creating future opportunities, and not just necessarily a solopreneur. So we're talking about scalability. And I know at JP Morgan Chase, you all are working with businesses to help them scale in many ways. So Nicola, can you talk a little bit about what are some of the indicators that your business may be ready to scale? And then how at Chase you could potentially complement or support that scalability, but also what are some of the things that entrepreneurs need to be prepared to do or think about doing when it comes to scaling their business?
Okay, great question. So, your business, you're growing your business, revenue is growing, your maybe geography, that's the part in terms of growing. But when it comes to scaling, it's more in terms of improving your processes, like what operations plan, processes do you have in place? If you had to step away from your business, maybe for a week or so, would somebody be able to pick up the reins and run your business? So that's one of the biggest things in terms of scaling your business, is really you have grown and you're now at the point where you want to bring in additional resources. A lot of entrepreneurs, you're wearing all the hats in your business. You're the business developer, you are the marketer, you are HR. And so when you get to that point of scaling, when you realize that you are basically at capacity and you need to maybe bring in somebody else, you don't have to wear all the hats in your business. You can bring on people within your team that are trusted advisors or experts. Maybe you are good at making widgets, but somebody else is going to be good at marketing the widgets. So you can focus on what you do well and then learn how to bring other people into your organization that's going to help you. And a lot of business owners say, well, I don't have the budget, I'm making money, but the bottom line is not there. I can't afford to hire somebody to do marketing. I would say you can't afford not to hire somebody to do marketing. And so that would be one of the biggest thing is, bringing in people. You can hire contractors. It doesn't have to be a full-time person that does the business. And so you're ready to scale when you realize that you are at capacity and you need to bring in other experts to help you get your business from where you are to where you need to be. And that's a good segue in terms of what we do at Chase. So what we do is we provide free one-on-one executive coaching to business owners who are looking to grow and scale their business or gain access to capital. And we work with business owners to tailor a plan for them. So we work in areas of operations management, business development, cash flow management, access to capital, of course, and helping our clients to build out their trusted advisors. And I think we've all touched on that a bit today. Is like, who's in your circle? Do you have an accountant, a bookkeeper, a financial advisor? So those are some of the things that we work with. When we talk about the access to capital, it's not just monetary capital that most of us think about, a credit card, a line of credit, a loan. The access to capital is also the intellectual capital and the social capital. So making sure that you're in rooms such as this where you are gaining the information, gaining the knowledge, being able to exchange information with other entrepreneurs is very important. And we open our network to all our clients to do that. And so it's really exciting. Again, this is my shameless plug right now. You don't have to be a client of Chase. In order to participate in this program, you don't have to bank with us. We are solely focused on helping our clients with advisory and resources. And if we do uncover a need, say you need a loan or something like that, you take that information and you take it to your bank, you take it to your partner. So really, we're about community impact and really giving you the resources. We realize that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the underserved communities, do not have the resources or have the access that others may. A lot of times you're starting from the ground floor. You're figuring it out yourself. You go to the University of Google, right? So what we do is we're opening it up. We partner with other organizations as well, such as Access to Capital, SCORE, the SBA, to open that up to our clients to give you the resource that you need. Because we truly do believe that entrepreneurs and small business owners are the backbone of our communities, and we want to support them as much as we can.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So, Carlos, I'm coming to you. All right. So you talked about the fact that you have a patent yourself and have been an entrepreneur. I was hoping you could expound for the audience, what is it we need to know about patents? As entrepreneurs, when should we begin thinking about potentially pursuing getting a patent? I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of technology startup companies, and so generally we're working in the space of innovation. You're trying to protect your genius, right? Your intellectual capital. Help us understand kind of that world and how your department can support entrepreneurs in that pursuit.
Sure, it's a great question. And our agency, our mission is to foster innovation and economic development. So that's one of the things that we focus on. As far as patents go, there's a couple of things that I would want to highlight, and those things, changed over the last couple of years. One of them in particular is that once you disclose your innovation publicly to anybody, that starts your clock of 12 months. If you don't submit your patent application by 12 months, then it becomes public domain. You can't do it anymore. One of the things that you can do within that 12 months, let's say you go ahead and disclose at some point within that 12 months, or maybe near the end, but you don't want to get too close, you can file what's called a provisional patent, and that'll give you another 12 months runway. A provisional patent doesn't actually get reviewed, though, so that's an important distinction as well. It's kind of like a placeholder, but it's an important step to give you that extra time. In many cases, with patents, whether it's design or utility based on the complexity, you're probably going to have to get some advice and support from the community to figure out, well, it was mentioned before as well, what is my target audience? Once you find out who your target audience is, then you may, and in most cases, probably 90% of the time, you're going to find out what you originally thought that they wanted or needed is not what they wanted or needed, or it's close, but it's not exactly that. So you'll need that time to kind of develop it on the way along your journey of growth. The other thing is, for trademarks and patents, there's certain requirements that you need to be familiar with. They're called office actions. Basically, that's a fancy way of saying there are updates that need to happen to those applications and to those submissions. For a patent lasts 20 years, a trademark lasts 10 years, but a trademark can be renewed. Think about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's had theirs forever. They just renew it every time they need to renew it. An important thing to keep in mind, though, is that if you do it on your own, you'll get a message about year 6 or 7 that you're going to have to start your first office action and then put in your intent to renew. If you miss some of those office actions, you could divest that trademark, and you certainly don't want to do that after you've built up all of the brand recognition, right? So if you put all that hard work into brand recognition, you want to make sure that you're renewing those applications so that you're getting credit for them. Same thing goes for patents at certain inflection point, year 5, year 10, year 7. I could be a little bit off on those, but we do have patent experts that can answer those questions directly. They're going to contact you if you worked with an attorney, and they're going to say, we need to submit this. There's another fee associated with it. But additionally, if you're doing it on your own, you're going to want to keep your eye on those things. Now, a lot of those things are not public knowledge, but I mentioned earlier some free resources. So we have a USPTO YouTube channel with a lot of these presentations, kind of like the one, a recorded presentation right now, where you can go and see some of the previous ones. Some of them are very recent as well. We usually try to get them up there in about 2 or 3 weeks, and you can watch, some of the presentations, just like this one. You can hear from innovators, experts like we have on this panel, and then that'll give you a great frame of reference. Additionally, and I'll stop with this for right now, there's a lot of great resources on our events page, and we have all 3 types. We have the in-person, such as this one. We have hybrid, which means it would be live streamed and in-person, and then we have the virtual. There's probably, on any given month, and these are free, there might be 100 of them. So you can just go to that events page. You can either go to one where you're at, or you can start looking at all the ones that are available free. The ones that I really like, in both person and the recorded versions, because we have really great presenters, certainly much better than me, are the trademarks presentations, because they'll give you great insight into some of the things that can be trademarked. And it's very interesting. Things like fragrances, right? So like perfumes, and not just a fragrance by itself. The way that Play-Doh, everybody, maybe older people like myself know what Play-Doh is. The way that Play-Doh smells is trademarked. So it's not just on its own fragrance. So it could be nail polish too. It could be the makeup of the nail polish. And one of the most interesting ones we're about to get into is a presentation we're planning in Detroit in partnership with an organization that deals with assisting students to create designs for shoes. So think of, Adidas and Nike, and then they go work for those big organizations after they've learned how to create those designs and actually leverage their intellectual property to make something of that. And it also puts them in good position to work for some of those larger firms.
Excellent. So thank you for those insights. I saw a lot of faces perking up, particularly when you gave the example of the fragrance of Play-Doh. So I'm sure there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the room that have different products and things that you create and maybe never really thought or realized that you had the opportunity to attach a trademark to your product. So definitely want to encourage you to take advantage of the resources. So we were given the 10-minute sign. Thank you very much. And I think we're moving along pretty well. Brandon, I want to give you an opportunity to go maybe a little bit deeper about Shopify as an e-commerce platform and how it can be accessible or complementary to entrepreneurs in the room who are trying to scale and pursue success in their business endeavors.
Sure thing. So Shopify is an ecosystem, right? So we support entrepreneurs. So I'm going to also mention a few other companies, not just talk about Shopify right now, because I think that you have to just have all the knowledge possible. We want you to be as successful as possible, because when you're successful as a company, Shopify is successful. So if you're thinking about or want to develop a logo or something like that, go to Fiverr.com. That's Fiberr. I don't get any comp for this. I'm just letting you know just some things. If you have an idea for an app, so first, of course, develop your business plan, start with SCORE, and have your mentor. But go and then talk to Carlos over there about the process of your patent and trademark. But then go to Upworks. Upworks is a website that you can find developers and so forth to help in developing your business. Then once you get everything all squared away, you develop your business plan, you go on to 1mbb.org or shopify.com/1mbb.org. You develop your business plan, come over and develop your website. We have in your e-commerce store. If you're like, how the hell do I start an e-commerce store? How do I build a site? How do I get these images and all the things? We offer something at Shopify called Shopify Experts. You can plug in, ask what you need, and you can find someone that can fulfill that for you. Shopify powers commerce. So the platform itself allows you to manage your inventory. You manage your website. You add pictures. We use AI, so you don't even have to think about, you see like creative product descriptions. You type in, hey, I have a yellow dress and I'm trying to sell it during the summertime. Give me some ideas, right? Just Shopify Magic and our AI, it'll produce a product description for you. You don't have to waste time or hire anyone to do that. The idea is to make, again, commerce better for everyone, whatever your definition of better is, right? Easy, efficient, more effective. Just one thing I also just want to highlight, the title of this talk, side hustle to sustainable business. So having originally, working at Shopify, we always talk about, employees having side hustles, right? So I actually work at a place that allows for and nurtures that. But when we think about sustainable business, think about what that means to you. Because what sustainable means to me may not be the same for you. Write that down. You can write that down right now if you want to, do it later on. But what is sustainable? Have that vision of where you want to get to and make that happen. The parts of scaling, so we talked about scaling really quick, it's having the people, or starting with the product, the people. Who are the people that you're bringing along? So whether it's your mentor, whether it's your network of folks that you can partner with, create partnerships with, and then the systems. Systems are going to be the things that you'll need to scale. So who's your accountant? The person that's going to have, that's the part you don't want to mess up on, your taxes or something. Who's taking care of your business structure? If you get to the point of payroll, who's the company, the person that you're handling? And then legal. Again, invest in that. There may be some services that are free. You can use Rocket Legal. Even don't end with ChatGPT to start with your, partnership agreements. Also, please have a partnership agreement if you have a partner. Please have one. Promise, it's necessary. But you can start with your partnership agreement with ChatGPT. Connect with an attorney that can help codify for you and make sure that it's legally binding. And again, go to shopify.com/1ABB. If you want to start your business or work with someone that can help in growing and scaling your business, that's what we're here to do. Again, if you're successful as a company, Shopify is successful. And the more successful entrepreneurs in the world there are, is the better for us. So, thank you.
Excellent. Kat, you wanted to add?
I'd like to give some tools of time to some tools, so you guys get ready to write these down. How many of you have heard of Notebook LM? Anybody heard of Notebook LM? Okay, it's crazy. So Notebook LM is a Google product. So look it up, do a Google search for Notebook LM. What you can do is you can put in 50 resources, including pasting text, and it will create a podcast on that topic. So if you're trying to learn something, then put 50 links in that podcast, and two AI people will start talking about it. But also put information about you, your business, your product, and your service into that. Again, up to 50 resources. It could be a YouTube channel, it could be a link, it could be a PDF. You could paste text there. You'll be amazed. Put your resume in there. Put information about your product. It starts talking about you. And then you'll say, oh, let me put something else in there. And they have opinions, and they kind of draw different. So do that, especially with your product service, because you can also create an audio file and download that audio file and put it on your website. Now you have two people talking about your business. Another resource is keywordtool.ai. Again, keywordtool.ai. Now, what you can do in this tool, it's free also, is put in the name of your business. Like if I was doing marketing, I would type in marketing, and it will list a whole, if you want to read the mind of the search engine and figure out what they're talking about, what questions people are asking, So if you could find out what people are asking about your business, how could you use that for your website? Now you have a whole list of questions that people are asking about your website. What would you do with those questions? Answer them. Create blogs. Now you have content for your website, right? So use keywordtool.io. Another one is called Gamma. Gamma, if you talk about creating those presentations, she talked about to present your business. Gamma has AI in it also. I love Gamma. You look like you're using Gamma. Gamma is hot. Gamma.app. My last one is called napkin.ai. And I can keep going, but I'm going to stop. Napkin.ai. Napkin.ai will help you create presentations. Again, that's napkin, like you write on a napkin. It helps you to create presentations like that. So if you're looking for diagrams and things like that, it will let you create various diagrams. And by the way, all you do is take your information, put it there, and it creates the diagram. You just pick, oh, no, I want that diagram. No, I want that diagram. It does the diagram for you in seconds. And that can help you create your presentation.
Excellent. I know, Carlos, you wanted to...
I think they have us going for questions.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Notebook.
Notebook LM. Google.
Use your.
Notebook LM. Do a Google search on Notebook LM.
And
It's a free Google product.
Great. Carlos, you want to add real quickly?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to give a correction. I think I misspoke earlier when I was talking about the fragrances and Play-Doh. Those would be a patent, not a trademark. Well, of course, you still could trademark the image and things. And in the spirit of the side hustle, I did want to mention as well, you can submit a trademark on your own. We have a network of trademark assistance centers throughout the country. There's probably one real close here, and they can help you navigate that system. If you have the logo and you have the name and you have the tagline, that's essentially all you need to move forward. Obviously, you can use an attorney, but you can do those things on your own, and our network of trademark resource centers can help you navigate that environment. Additionally, we're very fortunate to have at our table out here a trademark attorney at our USPTO table. Feel free to come on by, and she can give you some answers, a deeper dive that I don't have. That's it.
Excellent. So we're almost at time, but I want to round robin really quickly on these last two questions. Clearly, there's a lot of knowledge and passion on this stage, and we are invested in your success as an entrepreneur. We've talked about a lot of resources. We've talked about some of the structural things that entrepreneurs need to do to set up their business. We talked about indications and signals that you might be ready for growth. We talked about support that's available to you in the ecosystem towards that end. We haven't talked about some of the pitfalls of being an entrepreneur. We don't always get it right the first time. One of the things that I talk about with entrepreneurs that I work with is having the ability to fail fast. So what are some of those pitfalls or mistakes that you see entrepreneurs make that you can share in hopes of either helping them to avoid it or helping them to fail fast and move on to that? So we'll do really fast, starting with Brandon and come down the line.
So really quick, so just be kind to yourself, y'all. Like, you may fail, you may stumble. Don't let it get you down. Keep going. Secondly, going from 0 to 1, right? So don't feel the need to go out the door, spend your entire savings on something. I'm gonna throw it into Google, try to or Meta to get a bunch of ads and people to buy, right? Don't do that, right? Just pace yourself. Go at a whatever you determine your pace to be. Will allow that to be for yourself. But again, like the idea is 0 to 1. You wake up in the morning, you take that shower, that idea happens, you can begin testing that evening and start selling. So just take it slow, pace yourself, and be kind.
Nicola?
I think having a clear path and goals is one of the pitfalls that we see, right? A lot of us have the ideas and we have our goals in our head, but we have not written it down. If you ever heard of SMART goals, that's a great way to kind of flush through what it is that you're trying to do. So write it down. The act of writing down your goal has been found that 80% of people, I think it is, that write down their goals actually achieve it. So make sure you write down your goals. In terms of from the banking side of it, is paying attention to your personal finances as well. A lot of entrepreneurs, again, at the small business level, when you're applying for a loan, make sure your finances are in order, your books, both your personal and your business books. Your credit score. Entrepreneurs, why do you need my credit score? I'm applying for a business loan. This is not a personal. Well, at the small business level, you are your business, right? And so the bank is going to look to see how did you manage your personal life. If you are late on your normal credit card bills, the bank is going to say, well, you're going to be late on this bill as well, so we're not going to give you a loan. So while your FICO score is very important, paying attention to past dues as well. The last bank that I worked at, if you had more than 2 30-day past dues on your credit report, it was an instant denial. So making sure that you get your house in order and pay attention to those things, I would say, are very important. And then also, when we're talking about going from side hustle to sustainable business, having that plan in place, which also means, can the income that you're making from your side business sustain your lifestyle? right? So having a resource, a reserve, maybe save 6 months to 12 months of savings to bring you through. As you're going and you're developing your business, at what point is the income that you're making from your side hustle getting close to your regular 9 to 5 or surpassing it? If it's getting to that point where it's surpassing it, maybe it's time to maybe shift gear and you can make that leap and go into your side hustle as a full-time job. So just be prepared. Don't be afraid of your bank. You could go into any of your branches and talk to your branch managers and ask them, who who here, can help me? Let them know what it is that you're looking to do. I know with the Coaching for Impact program, when I go to a branch or an event and we bring this program up, a lot of our clients get upset, like, how come I don't know about this program? Go into your bank and ask them, what resources does the bank have that can help me grow and scale my business? You'd be surprised.
Great, thank you so much. We're getting the sign to wrap, so I'll give Kat and Carlos 30 seconds, a practical piece of advice to our audience so we can close out today.
I know you want to take your whole family with you, but be careful, okay? I'm going to tell you, somebody told me that, and I didn't listen, okay? I wanted everybody to be employed, whether they were qualified or not. And this is what a business that had, I was making $1,000 per student at 100 students a week, okay? So even with that, I ran into problems. So watch who you hire. You need to hire qualified people. And make sure you watch your business and mind your business. Become part of people who are like-minded. Join a CEO forum or make a CEO forum. If you don't know what that is, look it up, because if you're trying to grow your business, you are the CEO. Find like-minded people that you can learn from.
Yeah, I'd say I mentioned earlier the time after disclosure, time after submitting a provisional patent, and you talk about some of the pitfalls. I think it's important to use that time for two functions in particular to make sure that you're not spending money, let's say on a patent, on a product or a service, let's just say product, that's not going to sell, right? Because that can be very cost prohibitive. You put $20,000 in, you're not selling anything. So there's two functions that you can use that time for. One of them is called market validation, and basically that means ensuring as much as possible that there's a market sufficient enough for it to make it valuable for you to do. And the second one is looking at the business model. There's all kinds of business models. There's not just one way to do things. There's a great book called Business Model Generation. There's hundreds of them. The one I like in particular, I'll end with this, is one for like prepaid sales. Think about Taylor Swift and ticket sales in general, right? So they have concerts. They sell out their concerts months in advance. So she has her money already before the concert ever happens. So you can do the same thing with products or services, not in all situations, but it's certainly something to consider when you look at all of the myriad types of business models there are, and you should use that time for those two functions in particular.
Excellent. Well, please join me in thanking our panel for their wonderful comments today. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the conversation, and thank you to Operation Hope for having us. Have a good one.